Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hands-On Banking Community of Practice. We are very excited to have all of you join us. We are very excited. We've been waiting a long time coming, and so we welcome you today. And so let's get started. I'm going to pass it off to my colleague, Brittany. Go ahead and give us some housekeeping tips.
Sure. So the audio for today's webinar is being broadcast through your computer. So just take a moment right now to make sure your speakers are turned on and your headphones are plugged in. If you can control the audio broadcast panel via the audio broadcast panel icon, and you'll see that at the bottom of the screen. And if you accidentally close this panel, you can easily reopen by going to the Communicate menu. It's up at the top of the screen, and choose Join Audio Broadcast. If you do not have sound capabilities on your computer, or if you prefer to listen by phone, you can dial the number 1-650-479-3207 or the toll-free number 1-855-244-8681 and enter the meeting code for today's webinar, which is 236. And please note you do not need to enter an attendee ID for this meeting today. Real-time captioning is being provided during this webinar, and the captions can be found in the Media Viewer panel, which appears in the lower right corner of the webinar platform. If you do not see the captions, you may need to open the Media Viewer panel by selecting the Media Viewer button in the upper right corner of the webinar platform. If you want to make the Media Viewer panel larger, you can minimize other panels like chat, Q&A, and/or participants. And I am noticing that our captions are not showing up quite correctly, so we're going to work on that. In the meantime, I will place a link in the chat box where you can log into, and from there you'll be able to access the captions remotely. And I will put that in there just as soon as we are done with these housekeeping slides. For submitting questions, please use the Q&A panel to send any questions you have during the webinar, and we will direct the questions accordingly during the Q&A portion. If you are listening by phone and not logged into the webinar, you may also ask questions by emailing me at btome@ndi-inc.org. And please note that this webinar is being recorded. We will put the materials on our website at www.realeconomicimpact.org. And if you experience any technical difficulties during the webinar, please use the chat box to send a message to the NDI admin, or you can email me again at btome@ndi-inc.org. And if you do need access to those captions, I am going to be putting the link to where you can access those into the chat box right now for you all. And with that, I will turn it back over to Katie to kick us off.
Great. Thanks so much, Brittany. My name is Katie Metz, and again, we want to welcome you from National Disability Institute. If you're not familiar with National Disability Institute, our mission is to drive social impact to build a better economic future for persons with disabilities. We envision an environment where persons with disabilities have the same opportunities to achieve financial stability and independence as people without disabilities. We support this project with my team, Lori Schaller, who is Manager of Financial Empowerment, and Brittany Tome, who is the Manager of Workforce Engagement, who you just heard from. With that, we're very excited to work in conjunction with Wells Fargo and the Hands-On Banking team. So it's my pleasure to introduce Kathy Martinez, who is the Senior Vice President of Disability Market Segment and Strategy for Wells Fargo. She works to expand the company's capabilities and programs dedicated to serving customers with disabilities and their families. She's a former Assistant Secretary of the Office of Disability Employment Policy for the U.S. Department of Labor. And we are very, very excited to work with Kathy. We have done so for several years, and we thank her and Wells Fargo for the opportunity to continue to work to ensure that people with disabilities have access to the types of products such as hands-on banking. And so with that, Kathy, I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, everybody, and thank you, Katie. Welcome to this premier webinar regarding our community of practice and hands-on banking. My colleague, Mia, will go deeper into talk about hands-on banking, but I just want to provide a welcome on behalf of the bank. At Wells Fargo, we are committed to helping folks improve their financial capability and financial well-being. And our partnership with National Disability Institute has been an extremely rewarding one in connecting people with disabilities to financial knowledge, just making the connection, believing that people with disabilities absolutely have a right to improve their financial well-being. And it's been a wonderful journey with the folks at National Disability Institute. I knew them in my various past lives, and really their work is phenomenal, just connecting people to opportunities and information. And that really is the purpose of this community of practice. We want to give you the tools that you need to help your constituents and or yourselves become more financially empowered. So with that, I will say once again, welcome on behalf of Wells Fargo Bank. We're a proud sponsor of this effort, and I'll turn it back to you, Katie. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Kathy. I'm going to go briefly over the agenda for today so we all know what's going to happen and where we're going from here. We've just done a few welcome and introductions of our teams. We're going to go over a brief overview of the wonderful hands-on banking curriculum. So for those of you that are joining us today and may not have used hands-on banking, I saw in our Q&A earlier a couple of folks who had said that they're not quite familiar with hands-on banking yet. They're in for a wonderful quick overview of hands-on banking. If there are still questions at the end that you have regarding the hands-on banking curriculum, our team and the hands-on banking team, Wells Fargo, will be more than happy to answer those. We'll give you some tips later on how you can reach us for additional training and technical assistance and how we can answer those questions for you. We're going to go over some of the other tools that we've created, Instructor Toolkit, the Disability Supplemental and Quick Reference Guides. We're also then going to dive into the hands-on banking community of practice, what we're here for today, give you an overview of the purpose, some of the roles and responsibility of both of you as participants, but more importantly of us as your support team and how we can help one another as we move through the next 6 months or so, the expected outcomes of this community of practice, and how we can learn from one another and guide one another through what we're going to do over these next 6 months, what to expect in the future. We're going to go through some Q&A, so if you have any questions, and then a quick wrap-up. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mia Russell, who is the Vice President for Hands-on Banking, Content Strategy and Integration, so that she can give you guys an overview of the hands-on banking curriculum. Mia?
Thank you, Katie. And again, I say welcome. We're excited about this collaboration. As Kathy already mentioned, we're committed to helping individuals develop and improve their financial capability. So this is exciting to be here with you all today. So I know some, as Katie mentioned, there were a couple people that might not have been familiar with hands-on banking. So I'll start with kind of what is hands-on banking. It is a public service provided by Wells Fargo that's a free, non-commercial, bank-agnostic, non-branded financial education curriculum. And it's also an online platform that has articles, courses, and tools that are designed both for self-paced or individual instruction or group learning. Through our platform, our hands-on banking is available in both English and Spanish, and the curriculum and program really teaches people at all stages of life, from youth to seniors, military personnel, and entrepreneurs, in both English and Spanish, the basics of money management, including things like creating a budget or creating a budget, investing, responsible spending, buying a home, etc. Hands-on banking is award-winning. So we've won, most recently we won an award from AFCPE, or the Association for Financial Counseling, Planning, and Education. Again, there's no product ties. It's been widely used in schools and by nonprofits for, at this point, 15 years. And again, as I mentioned, there are age-specific and custom audience. There are extensive age-specific and custom audience curricula. When this slide here shows you what our homepage looks like, so you can learn more at handsonbanking.org. When you visit our site, you'll see here at the top there are articles that are focused on popular topics. We have one that's kind of all-encompassing, life events. So this could be things about kind of the financial implications of marriage, or talking to children about money. Then you'll also see that we have credit, banking basics, other major money management topics. Kind of towards the middle, you'll see that we have courses. Here, these are the courses that were that I mentioned based on kind of audience. So the youth, we have kids, teens, and young adults, which is high school and college, adults, entrepreneurship, military, and seniors. Below that, you'll see a place that maybe you might want to visit. These are where you'll find resources for educators. And this also, this is really appropriate for our K through 12 educators as well as community educators. And there are lots of resources there, again, for traditional or more non-traditional education. And at the bottom, you see community education and other types of resources that would be helpful. As I mentioned, hands-on banking is in English and in Spanish. So here you see an example of our homepage in Spanish. What I'd like to mention is that our hands-on banking in Spanish is actually a cultural translation. So it is not just kind of one-for-one, word-for-word translation, but the content has been culturally created. So that's one thing I think is helpful when we talk about complex financial topics such as money management. And with that, I will turn it back over to Katie.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mia.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're going to get into some tools that will help you bridge the gap. We got to tell you a little bit about hands-on banking. So now let's talk about how you can take hands-on banking and how you can make it more inclusive for persons with disabilities, taking this wonderful financial education curriculum and embedding it into the products and services that you're already doing, and ensuring that people with disabilities are able to utilize it as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Lori Schaller. Lori?
Thank you, Katie. So regarding the gap, I would like to define the gap. That's the access to accurate financial information, and then motivation, encouragement for individuals to take next steps with that information to maybe change behaviors and start to engage in activities associated with financial capability, and then to be able to demonstrate financial capability, supporting the case for our financial education, and that with this financial education being provided in a timely manner, people are motivated to further their education, including financial education and career development and employment retention and career development. So we see greater outcomes across the board relevant to the program services and populations that are involved with this community of practice and in our communities. So next we have Integration Toolkit, and this is supports better understanding the importance of financial education and explores the 6 steps of integrating financial education into workforce and other community-based programs. So this is really specifically for the trainers to support us in those efforts, and you can download the toolkit. It is available at http://bit.ly/2CEP3WX, and that link is posted below. And just to cover these 6 steps, the first is to create an understanding of why financial education is important for job seekers, to identify opportunities to provide financial education for job seekers. Step 3 would be to choose the right financial education program for your center or materials. And we understand that many of you are already utilizing financial education curriculum and tools. So we invite you to take a look at these tools and see if they can be used to supplement the activities that you are already providing, or that you can use these materials the way you feel best meets your needs. So also, step 4 would be to create marketing materials that are relevant to your audience in particular. And then step 5, to host an in-service training for your center staff and your community partners. And step 6 is we wish to invite you to be creative in using these materials because this is an exciting opportunity, and you know, we're creating a safe environment for people to start the dialogue, the conversation around financial capability. So these toolkit highlights introduction on why financial education is important, financial education tools and resources, the steps to creating a financial education program, tips on how to start that conversation with customers, your clients, and staff that you work with and community partners, and resources to support the integration of these materials, providing information that's safe place for people to remember maybe the goals that they had given up on, and to revisit those and define new goals that are appropriate for their situation now, and to motivate people towards engaging in education and employment towards their fullest potential of capability within their communities. And this can increase that employability. And remember that these materials also offer certificates of completion, and that can be used even to enhance an individual's resume towards employment, and help people to develop skills to save also for emergencies. And with you know, the changing in our weather patterns, we know that this is very important for individuals to be able to save for emergencies that are new to all of us. So to move on, the disability supplemental guides cover disability-specific information to complement the hands-on banking curriculum and instructor guides for adults, young adults, and entrepreneurs. So this ABLE guide really talks about protected savings opportunities specifically for individuals who have a disability and wish to retain eligibility for SSI and Medicaid. And the Disability Sensitivity Guide talks about people-first language and provides tips on communicating with individuals and different scenarios that we may not have experienced in the past as we begin to provide services to people who have disabilities. And this can help us to be more responsive to the diversity of the people who come into our centers for services. And then the Young Adult Guide, it really encourages education and an eye towards employment, and program services and work supports offered through the American Job Centers and places like vocational rehabilitation. And the Adult Guide, again, focuses towards training and work, and again, talks about different programs that may be appropriate even for a senior in re-entering the workforce and opportunities that are available for that particular individual. And the Entrepreneur Guide talks about self-employment and accommodations that as a means to accommodate an individual who may have a disability, and this can really play upon the strengths of a person who has a disability, and it directs them that there are specific work supports associated with self-employment and Social Security Administration disability benefits. And then our quick reference guides. There are 15 quick reference guides that address common needs and issues relevant to financial capability. And these identify scenarios and barriers that are often identified by persons with disabilities, and they provide possible solutions and resources that many individuals it's probably new information for most individuals. And these highlight key lessons and tools within the hands-on banking curriculum that may also provide direction towards eliminating or easing these barriers. And these materials are available at the National Disability Institute site, and you can download each of these guides, and the link is provided below. So just to go over, the content in these 15 quick reference guides, last year we noted that the most often downloaded quick reference guide was on convictions, and it starts by, I have a conviction, I don't know where I can work. So this, for example, provides information around federal bonding that can provide insurance for a person to be able to start employment, and it opens many doors for individuals who maybe do not have a strong credit history or have a conviction on their record. And then many people are concerned that they don't have positive credit, and so there are resources in communities that people are directed to. For example, the National Federation of Consumer Credit Counseling Service agencies. And around employment, there are career development resources for entrepreneurs. Again, it references the work supports that will help them. For individuals, maybe who thought that they weren't allowed to own a home because they receive a federal benefit or Social Security benefits, well, to inform an individual that there are resources that are exempt and that they are, in fact, allowed to engage in home ownership, to purchase a vehicle, to be able to purchase assistive technology, can be that carrot that really helps that person to utilize this information that we're providing and move forward and develop financial capability by having more assets for their use. Medical benefits, this talks about, for example, Medicaid buy-in, that for years and years, people who receive disability benefits when they are working are entitled to different levels of Medicaid that includes Medicaid buy-in in many states. So that offers the opportunity for the person to feel safe, that they will continue to have medical benefits and access to that until they can perhaps find better insurance that meets their needs. So we go on, and there's money, that people don't have the money, or it's going to cost them too much money to be able to travel to that job, and that information packet addresses that. Information for the older adult about work-specific supports and services available. There's a reference guide on regarding part-time work. So this addresses the fact that, in fact, individuals who have disabilities, including people who receive Social Security disability benefits, are invited to work to their fullest capability, and that the work supports are designed to help them achieve just that. And then savings, I cannot save money or I will lose my benefits. This talks to the protected savings opportunities that are available to individuals who have disabilities, including some individuals who may be eligible for the ABLE accounts. And spending, I know we're all concerned that we have money left over at the end of the month to cover emergencies. So there's specific information about how to save, how to reduce expenses, and how to ensure that there are savings left over dedicated towards emergencies and to meet needed expenses. And then there's materials on student loans and disability-specific information and repayment options of student loans. And then the tax information addresses the free tax preparation sites and disability-specific tax preparation services that, again, help individuals who have a disability who may have out-of-pocket expenses related to their disability and their either going to school or working, and how those may be tax qualified. There's a specific quick reference guide on transportation, and it talks about things like paratransit, and again, the work supports around helping individuals secure reliable transportation to be able to work. And then work expenses, you know, how we understand that it costs money to be able to work, but it compares the cost of not working and the potential impact upon our financial health in the future. So, and then success from collaborations. So we wish to increase the awareness of the importance of financial education for persons with disabilities, both internally within our own agencies and externally with our community partners. And we wish to explore strategies that our community of practice participants have utilized to maybe develop new policies around integration of financial education within their services. And we've reached out last year to more than 9,500 professionals and reached through the collaboration via material distribution, virtual or in-person trainings during 2016. So this community of practice offers opportunities to expand that network of financial capability providers further, to be able to share best practices, again, technical assistance between all of you in the community and our experts here from Hands-On Banking and National Disability Institute. And we wish to celebrate our shared outcomes in the future. And I'll pass the ball next on to Brittany.
Thank you so much, Lori, and it's so true. This is such a great opportunity to expand your services further for all of you on the line today. And now that you have had a quick refresher on the hands-on banking curriculum and the supplemental and quick reference guides, I think where it would be a great place to start is what exactly is the hands-on banking community of practice. And the Hands-On Banking Community of Practice is a network of peers who are using hands-on banking and from many different fields, from the fields of education, employment, financial education, disability services, library systems, vocational rehabilitation systems, and all supported by us here at NDI, your team of subject matter experts, and our partners at Wells Fargo. And the purpose of the Hands-On Banking Community of Practice is for members to engage in those really rich conversations that explore really new, innovative resources that Lori did a nice job of mentioning a few of those, really utilizing those tools and case examples. And then at the same time, really exchanging the technical assistance amongst each other and with us, your subject matter experts, for ongoing support and guidance. And we are all here today because we all do share a common interest around building up the financial health of whoever we are serving, whether that be young adults, seniors, entrepreneurs, while always being sure that we are inclusive of people with disabilities. And we know that we can do this more effectively by utilizing the supplemental and disability reference guides that Lori shared earlier, while integrating the hands-on banking financial education curriculum that Mia had discussed. And that's really our ultimate goal, is to learn from one another's experiences using these tools as we work towards enhancing the financial health of people with disabilities, so that no matter where they may be on that spectrum of financial knowledge, they're gaining great insight and knowledge for themselves to continue moving forward. So lots of great opportunities all around. And that brings me to, what are the benefits of joining the community of practice? Well, the biggest one is that you'll be part of a national dialogue that is connecting financial educators and service providers with their peers. And as Lori and as Mia had mentioned, we know that there are a lot of amazing innovations and initiatives that are going on in the field, and many of them may be led by those of you on the call today. This is a great opportunity to connect and network with each other as peers. We will be hosting a monthly technical assistance sessions that will be provided by National Disability Institute on integrating services for people with disabilities, financial education, financial coaching, asset development, and public benefits, and where those all intersect. And you'll hear a little bit more about our monthly call schedule a little later. Katie is going to be sharing that with you. And then you'll also be the first to receive really great new and innovative resources, tools, and examples as you continue to provide financial education resources for those that you are serving, although always being inclusive of people with disabilities. Some of the other benefits include the opportunity to highlight your organization's financial education and capability successes, and to share those best practices nationally. So as I mentioned, we know you guys are doing really innovative service delivery, and we want to celebrate those achievements and highlight them for others to see and to replicate. You'll have the opportunity to receive intensive technical assistance for your organization to incorporate financial education and new tools into your delivery of services. And we are always here for you as a resource on our monthly calls. But that technical assistance doesn't stop there. And later on, you'll hear a little bit more about how you can request more of that intensive technical assistance, and we'll also share those opportunities as well in future community of practice meetings. And then finally, inclusion in the end of the year briefing that will be presented to a national network and highlights the outcomes and best practices. So at the end of the year, again, we want to share your progress and celebrate your achievements and highlight them again for others, and just continue to amplify the great work that is going on. So what are some of the topics that we're going to talk about this year on our community of practice together? Well, the first will be about how to start the conversation about money, and that can be a very challenging and nerve-wracking thing to do if that's not something you're used to talking about with the people that you're providing services to. So we'll talk a little bit about some of the things that you can do to make that introduction of a very personal topic a little bit more accessible and open. How to use the hands-on banking to meet Common Core standards. Using hands-on banking and certification of completion to meet WIOA requirements. So we know that this can really serve to meet some of those new federal requirements that are under WIOA. Integration of hands-on banking to support education, employment, and financial capability outcomes. Opportunities for developing relationships with your local banking community, sharing hands-on banking materials with your community partners, integrating financial education curriculums into your programs and services, and using the hands-on banking curriculum, the instructor supplemental and quick reference guides. If you're already using them, learning how to use them even more deeply. If you haven't used them before or have just been thinking about using them, really how to start working those into your programs and services. And then other topics that you all identify, and I really want to emphasize that last bullet because, as I said before, this is truly a group that will be led by you all. And if there are topics that are important to you, they're important to us too, and we'll work to make sure that they're addressed in our meetings together and that we work those through. So hopefully that gave you a little taste of what the hands-on banking community of practice is seeking to achieve over these next several months. And I will turn it over to Katie to talk about what you all can bring to the community of practice as well.
Perfect.
Katie, I think you might be on mute.
Yep, here I am. Thank you. So as Brittany said, we're going to talk about some of the community of practice member. We call them responsibilities, but they're almost like benefits as well. As Brittany was saying, we really want to hear from you guys. We want you to actively participate in these monthly community of practice meetings because that really is the benefit of the community of practice. We want you to share your best practices, to engage in the questions and the conversations. We, of course, want you to come on and we want you to learn, but we feel that the best way you're going to learn is to learn from one another, not just from us and from the conversations that we're having. In order to do that, we need you to share with one another and to be able to talk. So if you're doing something that you feel is really engaging your customers and your consumers, share it with us, please. We would love to highlight it on one of these meetings or in a resource that's coming out through email. So please let us know what you're doing, what's working in the community, whether it's in a classroom setting or a one-on-one, through a personal story or through a group setting. No matter how small, no matter how big, it's always important. We want you to utilize and provide feedback on the hands-on banking curriculum. So we want to hear the good and the bad. Let us know what's working well and what's not working well. So we want to know the same with the quick reference and the disability supplemental guides. If you are seeing something that's working really well, let us know, and something that's not. If you see gaps, we want to know that as well so that we can fill those gaps. We want you to please report and participate in surveys. So again, we can identify any gaps that might be there, any barriers, ways that you're integrating these wonderful quick reference and disability supplement guides into the programs and services that you're providing into the community. We want you to let us know what's working. Maybe you're finding new and innovative ways. I can't tell you how many times we've learned from our community partners new ways of doing things. And so most of what we do and when we provide technical assistance has come from what we have learned from partners such as yourselves. And so we strongly encourage you to let us know. And a lot of times that's done through surveys, and they will be brief, and we'll ask you to do those and report back to us. And then we will include you in the end of the year report that we will do, and as Brittany said, we will present that to a national network through our Real Economic Impact. And if you've not joined the Real Economic Impact Network, we encourage you to do so, and we'll tell you how to do that in upcoming meetings and calls. So we'll highlight you on that, and so we encourage you again to share your information with us as we move forward in this journey together. So how we will support you: we will provide you access to training and technical assistance from our team, from both the team that you've heard from today and potentially other team members through our wonderful staff at National Disability Institute, as well as our colleagues and team members from the Hands-on Banking Wells Fargo team, integration of these hands-on banking materials, as well as the instructor toolkit, the supplemental and disability reference guides, and how you can implement and integrate these materials into your service deliveries. We will track and share the findings and the best practices that we all learn from one another with all of you. providing the intensive technical assistance that we talked about to all of you at your request. So we will give you just in a minute a way to contact us. Both, we will have access to our emails and phone numbers, but we'll also give you a more streamlined way to contact us. We will facilitate monthly meetings such as these so that community of practice will be able to talk with one another. Our future meetings will be a little more open-ended, so we'll have more of a conversational flow. This was our kickoff, so we can let you know more about what we're doing, but in the future, we hope to have more conversation that we can discuss more in an open forum. We will also have, hopefully we'll be able to highlight more of your work and have some of you speak and maybe have some guests speak as well and share in that peer-to-peer network experience. So what are the objectives of the community of practice? Again, engaging in conversation, exchanging technical assistance, and overall building the financial health of young adults, seniors, and entrepreneurs so that we're ensuring that persons with disabilities are having access to financial services free of barriers and utilizing these supplemental and disability reference guides that we've given you so that you can integrate hands-on banking financial education curriculum into the service deliveries that you're providing. So one of the first steps that we're going to ask towards utilizing outcomes and reporting back outcomes is to share, when you're utilizing the hands-on banking curriculum, to utilize NDI's, what we call the vanity URL, the URL that we have, handsonbanking.org/NDI. So as you are using the hands-on banking curriculum and you are sharing it in your programs and services, this will help us track. We all know in your programs and services the need for tracking outcomes, and so this helps us track the number of individuals that are being driven and utilizing the hands-on banking curriculum, and so this helps us track those numbers. So we would ask that you use this URL when you're doing so, and we will send this out to you via email with some more instructions as we move forward to help us do that. What else happens next? We will meet monthly. We're going to keep it consistent for you. We're going to meet the third Thursday of each month, same time, same 3 to 4 o'clock Eastern from May through October. We will send out a calendar invite to all of you who have participated today. We will also share a resource or resources every first Thursday of each month via email. And this will hopefully prompt more discussion and thoughts for our future meetings every third Thursday of the month. If you find a resource that you'd like to have shared with one another, with this community of practice, please send it to us. We would love to share it. And there's absolutely room for more than one, of course. So we encourage you to do that. Send it to us. Please, if you've heard things that you like today, spread the word, encourage other colleagues. If you're already using another financial education curriculum or you know others who have, there's always room for more. So we encourage you to have others join us so that they might be interested in joining as well. If you want to learn more or you have questions to ask from this team, you can do so. You can do both things using this same link. And again, we will send this link out. I know it's lengthy. So we will send it out via email to everyone. And so again, if someone wants to join the community practice or you have questions regarding technical assistance, you can fill out this very simple link, and it just gives you information. And so it will go to Lori, Brittany, and myself. We will receive it. And so that way, if one of us are on vacation or one of us is on the road for work, all three of us will receive your request, making sure that it gets answered in a very timely manner. And so we're able to track your technical assistance request or your request to join the community of practice, and we'll make sure we get you involved right away. And so with that, we will send you, like I said, a calendar invite to make sure you're looped into community of practice, as well as get you signed up for the resources that will be coming out too. Also, if you are currently using hands-on banking, which we hope you all are, or you're going to be reviewing the curriculum, if you're going to be looking at the instructor toolkit, the supplemental disability reference guides, we ask that you please take our survey. It's very brief. It really is going to help us identify opportunities to strengthen the hands-on banking materials and the strategies moving forward. Again, it's a very brief survey. We will send this out with the information that we're going to send you out. And so we ask that you take the very brief survey once more. And this is what we were talking about earlier about different surveys that we'll be asking you to take throughout the course. We won't do it very often, but if you could take that for us, we'd very much appreciate it. So with that, I am going to open up to questions and answers. If you have a question, please type it in the Q&A panel, and I will kind of bring it back with Brittany to see if we have any questions.
Sure. So the first question that came in was, will this webinar and transcript of the closed captions be available after this presentation? And that is a great question. The answer is yes, they will be. And they will be posted at www.realeconomicimpact.org. So that NDI website, and I will put that into the chat box. Again, I posted a little bit earlier, but if you've just joined us, I will repost it there for you as well. So yes, they will be posted, and you can go back and refer to it as well, especially if you have colleagues or partners that you know will be interested in joining the community of practice. This would be a great piece of information for them to have, and they'll be able to join it from there. The next question that we have is, how can I join the hands-on community of practice? And that's a great question as well. Katie or Lori, did you want to answer that, or I can go ahead and answer that as well?
Sure, go ahead, Brittany.
Sure. So if you are interested in joining the hands-on banking community of practice and you're on the webinar today, you are in. And we will also be following up with everyone who's been on the webinar today to share details about our next meeting that we're going to be holding so that you can mark it on your calendar and join us next month. If you have colleagues, again, that you know may be interested in joining the hands-on banking community of practice, they can click on that link that Katie had shared previously, and I'm just going to go back to that slide really quickly so that you all can see it. And I also will make sure to put that into the chat box for you as well, so you can pull it out right away. And you can share that link with others. They'll be able to sign up for the community of practice as well as ask about technical assistance needs through both just that single universal link. So great question. All right, I don't see any more questions in the chat box. I'm just checking to see if there are any questions that came in over email. And the only one I have gotten is through an email so far. So if you do have a question, now is the time to type it into the chat box, or to the Q&A box, excuse me, or you can send me an email. Can you remind me what we're going to be talking about on the community of practice? And absolutely, we can do that. I will bring it back to the slide about our topics, which is right here. So some of the topics that we'll be talking about is how to start the conversation about finances, using hands-on banking to meet several different standards, including Common Core and some of the federal requirements under WIOA, lots of different things that we'll be talking about. So I just wanted to make sure I put this back up on the screen, and we also will have the materials available for you to download if you wanted to refer back to the full list as well. Okay, great. Lori and Katie, or any of our partners at Wells Fargo, do you all have any final input or closing words that you wanted to say while we have this open forum?
This is Lori. Brittany, I just wanted to add that WIOA is the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act, and it really opens the doors for equal access to employment, training, and education for individuals who have a disability. So, like if an individual goes to an American Job Center or a Department of Labor office, they are really a priority of service, and we at those offices are encouraged to provide financial education information to help individuals reach financial capability through employment and continued training. Thank you.
This is Mia. I don't have anything else to add, but I just am excited to hear of the interest in joining the community of practice. So again, we thank you all.
Thank you, Mia. I just wanted to add that, you know, the work that we do at National Disability Institute could not be done with the wonderful supporters that we have with partners and funders such as Wells Fargo and Hands on Banking. So we thank them very much for the opportunity to do the work that we do to support individuals with disabilities and their families through programs and services such as Hands on Banking curriculum and the opportunity to develop tools such as the Instructor Toolkit and the Supplemental Disability Reference Guide. So we thank them for that opportunity, and we're very excited to kick off today's Community of Practice. And as Brittany said, you know, if you joined us today, you are in the Community of Practice, and so we look forward to seeing you next meeting on May 17th. We will send out registration, or excuse me, we'll send out a calendar invite, and we will send out some resources the first Thursday of next month. And again, we encourage you to encourage other colleagues or individuals who you know that might be interested in joining the Community of Practice. If you see people doing good work or that might need, who would like to join us to share best practices or to learn more, please send them our way. We will send out an email very shortly that will give you a calendar invite, as well as an email that will give you additional details from today that will tell you how to get in touch with us for technical assistance, as well as provide additional information. With that, Brittany, do we have any last-minute wrap-ups that we want to do before ending today?
I think we might have answered everyone's questions today, but if we didn't, or again, if you wanted to share this with one of your partners or colleagues, I did put the link to ask any additional questions into the chat box, and we encourage you to send them our way.
Perfect. Well, thank you, everyone. We're right on the hour, and so thank you once again, and we look forward to seeing you on May 17th, and we look forward to receiving your questions and your feedback via email. Thanks all. Have a wonderful day.